Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Sammy, United People's TV. It's Friday. We're closing off what has been, let's be honest, a hell of a week as United fans. It was Monday morning. We were prepping for the live show. I did the headlines. I had everything laid up, and we were going to have a conversation about Ruben Amorim's post-Leeds sort of outburst, and then boom, Amorim was sacked, and it's been a whirlwind week. It's the only way to describe it. It really is exhausting covering Manchester United. I wish I was exhausted from celebrating United winning games of football or just, winning all the pots. That'd been nice. Project 150 my arse. Anyway, good morning, everybody. We're going to be running through all the latest United news. Going to speak to you on Solskjaer and Carrick. We're going to have a conversation about INEOS. There's going to be a lot of focus of today's show now goes towards INEOS. As I said to you yesterday, day before, if it wasn't the fact that I was ignoring everything that was going on, it's just that all the news that was breaking this week, I had to cover that first. Today, my attention turns towards Ratcliffe, towards INEOS. Protests are planned, and it's not just a consequence of what's happened now, I'll be honest. When it comes to one part of the fan base that has been scorned, I think, the most by INEOS' ownership so far, it's the match-going fans. Hence why this protest is happening. I'll run through that. We'll speak about... There's not really much point in speaking about transfers. January transfer window is open. We really going to make any signings? Let's be honest. Not really. Who's doing what this weekend? Someone give me some good plans. What am I doing? Sweet FA. I'm chilling this weekend. I'll tell you what. Dry January? I'm doing dry January. Only because I went to excess. And it's not just because I went to excess. I'll be honest. I kind of bored of booze. I'd much rather focus on training, on eating well, and looking after myself. Maybe that's an age thing. Who cares? Anyway, who's doing dry January? Let me know in the chat. Anyone else boring like me? I might play a game of Risk this weekend. Anyone? I bought Susie a game of Lord of the Rings Risk for Christmas. I thought it was a good Christmas present. So everyone wants to play more board games. So I thought I'd try that. Never had a game. And then we'll speak about the Brighton game this weekend. All right? Let me say hello to everybody. We've got JC, we've got Gungshi, we've got Josh, we've got Maddie, and Carl and Alex. Lots of mods out. Good morning to all of you. Can I say a quick message to all the mods and to everyone? When it comes to sort of modding the chat, I don't like people shouting at me with just with caps on. But if people are excited and they're using caps, don't worry about it. Let the conversation flow as much as you possibly can. Don't just always nip things in the bud too soon is probably what I would say. Let me see who else is here. From some members, we've got Kevy, we've got Chris, we've got Abdallah, we've got John and Rob, Prato. Right, who's doing what this weekend? Let's have a look. El Tosti, we're watching Sopranos. I'm watching an episode of that in about 3 weeks now. I think I'm coming towards the end of season 4. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of that. Manny, you're in pre-season training tomorrow, 42 Celsius. Jeez. What's your position? Where did I play? I play left mid and the bench. Man, I wish I continued playing football when I can't play football now. I can hardly run, man. My legs are bollocksed. They absolutely are. Hoggy saying done dry January 5 years ago. Still haven't had a drink. Fair play. Sod that. Be completely honest. I enjoy it, but yeah, only sometimes. Shall we move on to the news? Let's get involved. As always, please do fire in your comments, fire in anything you want me to speak about, and your reaction. Jason, you're a big fan of that? That's my favourite poster that we've done so far. I think we're going to keep releasing, I'm going to call them like legacy posters. It's something that I've realised over all the kind of years I've been doing this. Like I've got a poster there, you can't see it's off screen. That's a promo poster for the video we did on Amorim after Brighton when he smashed the TV. And that's the hairdryer. We did it like the Godfather style. That looks cool as hell. I like that one. But doing posters or anything related to the current team, you just can't trust that they're going to be there in 2-3 months' time. Like this football club, you can't look past the week ahead and trust it at Manchester United. bad, isn't it? Really bad. Right, anyway, let's get into the news. First things first, Semenyo has been announced by City this morning. And let's be honest, I think he made the right choice. I think he made the right choice not coming to Manchester United. The manager that he spoke to about the position that he might play doesn't exist at this football club now. So I think it's fair from a stability perspective that he made the right choice. I still don't really know how much he's going to play there. But, yeah. See, Semenyo. When am I doing my Sancho poster? I may as well wipe my ass and put that on the poster. I'm not going to do that. Look, Arsenal-Liverpool last night. Kind of a bit of a stinky game, for being honest. They dropped points. City dropped points. Villa dropped points. It feels like it's Arsenal's title to win this season. I can't be bothered to sort of like... Which team that isn't United would I rather win the league? I've almost become... I can only speak about my perspective here. I've almost become numb to City winning the league because it's happened, what? 6 times post-Fergie? I don't know how many fucking times. Too many times. Sorry, one sec. It will be Arsenal's first time. I can't be asked to speak about... Jeez. What is that at the back of the throat? That's random. What's that at the back of the throat? Screw talking about anybody winning the title. United are 7th. Joy. Let's talk about United. Look. It feels like if we have this conversation in 2 weeks' time, we're either going to be really in the hunt for a champion. Oh, yeah, well done, Sam. That's how football works. If you win games, you're one place, and if you lose games, you're another place. But these last 5 weeks, we've not really taken advantage of any opportunity that's come our way. And still, we're lingering around 3 points off 4th. My point is that won't be the case in 2 weeks' time if we don't get the results against Arsenal and City. I think that's when that gap really starts to 5 points, maybe 7 points. Sod knows what. And I don't exactly have confidence in beating Arsenal and City right now. Neil, interesting timing on that super chat there because I was about to speak about that video here. He's saying you loved the video yesterday. Neville proved the point by saying nothing about Gyökeres being invisible. Keep the positivity for our lads going. Neil, isn't it really quite sad how that's kind of the position that kind of I'm in now? Well, not I'm in personally, but kind of where we are. Like, it feels like we've... Why is it that it feels that we've got to come out and defend our own players against what our former players are saying about them? And it doesn't make... That doesn't... When you say that as a sentence, it's so bloody strange. I didn't even realise Gyökeres hasn't had like a shot on target in like 7 games. He hasn't had a shot in like 7 games. Mate. Not a peep is being said about him. You know why not a peep is being said about him? Because Arsenal are at the top of the table. And when you're at the top of the table, the scrutiny is less. You get away with more. But yeah. Yesterday's scorn was towards Neville, towards Sherwood. But more than anything, as was said there, it's more to defend my player. To defend... Because that's what we've got to do as fans. Man, what is in my throat? Don't be another illness. I've just come over it. Ha! Neville says things to get a reaction. I like honest truth on Neville. I don't think he cares about football anymore. Not from a punditry perspective. I think he's been incredibly successful with like his properties, with his hotels. He's just sold the overlap to global media. So his media company has just been bought, has just got massive investment. He doesn't need Sky Sports anymore. He doesn't need punditry anymore. I genuinely feel like Gary Neville looks on it like a little bit of an inconvenience. That's just the feeling I get listening to Neville on commentary anymore. I don't think he really wants to be there. I don't think he watches football with the same level of analysis as he did before, because when he first came into it, he was fantastic. Yeah, but I don't think it's as important to him as it once was, and I think that really comes across in how he is as a pundit, and also the sort of stuff he says as a commentator. It feels like he's making content rather than commentating. Manny's saying at the end of the season, Solskjaer will be one of the few bright lights. Mate, really happy for him. I hope he starts against Brighton. I hope he scores against Brighton. I've already had some water. What's going on? I'm sure it'll go now. Right. Should we move on? Because two main stories for today. Right, David is saying, let it go over your head. Can't do anything about it. Like, dude, you know how people like say that before? Like, just ignore it. Just ignore him. Like, I can't really, like, I could let it go over my head, but we've got a platform here, and it kind of feels, well, how would you call it? As I said, like, Solskjaer deserves to be defended. I'm not just going to sit there watching my young new striker in his first season just take pelters and pelters and pelters and get pointed at and laughed at and jibed at and not say anything. As a United fan, I wouldn't do that. I mean, you could if you want. You could bury it, but that would be burying your head in the sand. It's just all a big battle, I suppose, everywhere. JC, good morning to you, man. Good morning to everyone. Thanks for gifting 10 memberships, dude. All of you. We're working in the background, by the way. We already had a whole new set of emojis and a whole new set of badges that we're going to bring out for the YouTube live chat. That's going to be one of the first things that we do probably in this month, just to refresh everything, just to let you know that, members, we're not forgetting you, because we're not, all right? But this is the main story right now. Who's going to be our bloody manager / head coach after Brighton? We don't know. Who's going to be in the dugout against City and Arsenal? We don't know. The latest on Solskjaer and Carrick, right? We've had conversations this week about what would the setup be? What could the setup be? Would it be Solskjaer number one being better? Would it be better as Carrick number one? What would Carrick be? Would he be number two? I've always had my reservations as to whether or not Carrick would want to be number two underneath Solskjaer. Rob Dorset from Sky is suggesting that it's now, as these conversations are happening, that it's increasingly unlikely that Carrick and Solskjaer will be asked to work together. So it sounds like it's going to be one or the other. And that's something that was kind of reiterated on the latest Talk of the Devils. It feels like United are making a choice. That bit there, right? I'm looking at like John, you're saying it down there, like keep Fletcher. I'm curious to know, is there anybody that actually thinks that? Because I'm not one of them. I'm trying to think of exactly what we need between now and the end of the season. Because let's be completely honest, all of these conversations are a shower of shit. All of them. All of this is a joke. Speaking about Solskjaer coming back, speaking about Carrick coming back, speaking about Fletcher staying there. Like Fletcher staying there that's not going to happen. We're not going to allow him to have his. It'd be foolish for us to give him his first job as a manager to steady the ship of Manchester United in turmoil. I'm sure he has impressed, but that would just be foolish. Not that I'm saying it's incredible to be going back to something, because that's what I mean. It's turmoil wherever you look at it. Dylan and Captain, thank you to both of you. My God, my throat's annoying me. What is at the back of it? Fletcher is an interim. Give him more time in the under 18s first. I'd rather have Rude back. Now, that's actually, again, listening to the latest episode, Talk of the Devils. Rude is not somebody who can be ruled out. I think Rude's still part of the conversations. I don't think it's as prominent as Solskjaer and Carrick, but actually it's possible. What we're saying down here. We need Fletcher to go back to the under 18s. Alex saying whoever comes in, they do really need an experienced coach next to them. I just think of all the choices, I don't think it can be Fletcher. United aren't rushing by the looks of it. I still think I would go towards Solskjaer. You know, one thing I was thinking, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I really, really don't. But I think if you look at Solskjaer and Carrick, and not that Carrick would do anything to the detriment of Manchester United, because it's not what I'm suggesting. But he's a young manager at the beginning of his career. So Carrick would have... I'm just thinking about things. Do you think that Carrick he'd really want to imprint himself and who he is as a coach and his style onto Manchester United in his next 4 months? More than anything. Maybe that'll be a good thing. And Solskjaer coming in, he kind of just do everything and anything to tee Manchester United up for whoever the coach is going to be in the summer. I don't know. It feels like they're at different points in their career, and I think Solskjaer's situation might suit Manchester United more and what we need between now and the end of the season. Honestly, what we need between now and the end of the season is just vibes. Players. That's such a stupid thing for me to say. Imagine clipping that up. But we don't need to see a new system being implemented. We don't need to see an identity going across. We just need the current... I know I'm waffling now. I don't really fucking know. I'll be honest. Like, I'm just... Mate, this club, like, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. 14 months after Amrin comes in. Thank you, everyone, for being so generous here this morning. I'm a bit lost, I think, today. Smee and Gungshi, you heroes. I don't want vibes. I just want to enjoy watching Manchester United. Is that such a hard thing to ask for? Really, really, truly. Is it that hard to want to enjoy a game of football and to be looking forward to a game at the weekend? It's been purgatory for so many bloody years now. Man, Ruben, you're not like... No, someone's ironically called Ruben down there. Stability is not what you're going to get right here. We're talking about safety nets. That's what Carrick would be. That's what Solskjaer would be. Or Rude. We're just looking for a cushion to prep us until the summer. By the sounds of it, it's not going to be both of them. So that idea of maybe Solskjaer and Carrick underneath him, or vice versa, it's not going to happen. Sounds like one or the other. And it doesn't sound like we're going to find out before Brighton. So that's the latest on it now. Do I think Lacey will start the FA Cup? Gonk, I will speak about the Brighton game in about 15, 20 minutes, all right? We'll have a little conversation then. There's a couple of super chats. Let me read these out, and I'm going to move on because I want to speak about INEOS in quite a bit of detail, if I'm being completely honest. I wouldn't say it's been a long time. Well, it kind of has been a long time coming, I suppose. Manny, you're saying Fletcher no experience for the Premier League. They'll keep him until Arsenal to save face after City and Arsenal results. Nah, I would... Predictions? Do you think Fletcher is in charge against City? Type yes or no in the chat. I don't personally think so. I think whoever it is will be in charge for the City game. Captain, you're saying I was hammering him out for a while. I got abused on Discord for it. It was only my opinion. Look, man, it's this fan base has been fractured for a long, long time. I completely understood, and I thought it was quite justified a lot of the time for people to be Ruben hammering out after what happened last season and what continued this season. I think so many of us feared what was on the other side. I'll be completely honest. Feared this particular moment we're in now, and that we're fucking talking about Solskjaer, we're talking about Rude, we're talking about Carrick, we're talking about an interim until the end of the season, and then we're talking about who, what next. No one knows. What's the point of keeping old chats open if you only read super chats? I just read that, mate. That didn't work out, did it? Teclom, you're saying no. Cantona, you're saying no. We've got most of you are saying, some of you are saying yes, but I think I'm in the majority of you. I agree with the majority of you. I don't think Fletcher will be in charge for the City game. Who will be in charge, I don't know. But as I said, attention now turns. And while Wilcox and Berrada, their photos after the game against Burnley were going around, it's rightly Jim Ratcliffe who is, I'm not going to say centre of attention. I think it's kind of the wrong way to describe it. But that's where the focus is and where the focus should be. Now, my lunchtime video today is going to be on INEOS as a whole. Because to tell you something that we're doing, and I think I've already said this to you before, I'm very aware that I would love nothing more than to work with Manchester United in some capacity, like creating good content, informed content, insightful content. I think that'd be incredible. I'm not really sure I'm ever going to get that access. I've already explained why. But I'm very consciously aware any videos like this could impact, not impact, but could be watched by someone at the club. So what I'm doing today is going to be kind of my opinion on Ratcliffe, on Wilcox, on Berrada, and anything so far. Something that we are doing behind the scenes as a team. We're going back to the very beginning and pulling up absolutely everything that Ratcliffe has said. And we're going to create a chronological long list of accountability for Ratcliffe. Things that have been pledged or promised that haven't then been done. Things that have been communicated that haven't been actioned. And creating that, as I said, that accountability list for Ratcliffe and what he has said he was going to do and what he hasn't actually done. Now, the 1958 are going to be doing a protest, I think, for the Fulham game. Is it a Fulham game? Yeah. Fulham on the 1st of February. I'm going to read through what they are. This is from the BBC, by the way. Right? 1958. What are they saying? They're discontent. This is what it is down here. After lurching from one disaster to another, Ratcliffe comes across as an incompetent clown, turning the club into a circus. Instead of best in class, we're a laughingstock. It has been an extraordinary and deeply troubling few days at Manchester United. On the pitch, we're watching mediocre performances from an average team, drifting without identity, direction, or ambition. Off it, the chaos is even worse. Yes, it's chaos everywhere at this football club. Again, you know what I was thinking this morning? Like, in fact, I'll have that conversation when I speak about new managers. What's your take on... What is your take on INEOS, on Ratcliffe, on Wilcox, on Berrada? Where do you stand on it all? I think a lot of... Wrong photo. A lot of fingers will be pointing towards Wilcox and Berrada. sporting director and our CEO, right? Wrong one again. But I think you have to be looking above them first. And this isn't me saying that Berrada and Wilcox can get away with everything. I don't think that. But I've already pointed this out quite a few times. The amount of meddling that has happened by this man has pissed me off no end. Like, stop getting involved. Your opinion is not wanted. You do not have the knowledge to be getting involved in something you don't know enough about. I do not give a crap if you are a billionaire and you've been successful in selling petrochemicals. Well done. But it doesn't mean that you should be speaking to a football CEO or a football sporting director about footballing matters. That's why I think. That's what I think, if I'm being completely honest. Right, let me go down here and see what you're saying. Can we say that Project 150 has failed? No, because I haven't got to that year yet. Someone's saying it's an improvement on the Glazers, but my hopes aren't high for INEOS. Mate, it's not exactly hard to be an improvement on the Glazers. Let's be completely honest. My voice went there. Oh, no. I'm getting ill again. I better not be getting ill again. Are we back to protesting stage again? We're a laughing stock. Like, what do you mean protesting stage again? Fucking club, man. Mate, the media. It's no wonder the media loves Man United, man. There is a soap opera that keeps giving. Darren, he's saying mixed bag. Some good stuff, some not so good stuff as expected. Nobody said this was going to be easy. I don't think they can be surprised that protests are being organised when, as I said at the start of the video, I think the section of Manchester United which has probably been hurt, I wouldn't say hurt the most. I suppose the redundancies directly impacted, so the workforce has been impacted too, and that was coming with the cuts. But so many of the decisions made by INEOS, like the match day experience at Old Trafford, has just kind of progressively got worse and worse and worse. Same for European away collections being cancelled and therefore tickets being sold on left, right and centre. And now, if you've got a season ticket at Old Trafford and you, 3 games I think you're allowed to miss? And if you miss more than 3 games, then your season ticket gets taken away from you. It's really hard to shift tickets on now. They've introduced a mad system. Was it like the proxy? What's it called? It's like NFTs. So many queues outside, so many turnstiles. It's the match-going experience has got significantly worse, which will be fueling a lot of this. Let alone everything that's happened with the football itself and the lack of decisions. Not the lack of decisions, just the incorrect decisions. Steve, I think that's probably where I would sit. I wouldn't say that the business side has been made better, but I think the floodgates have been stopped. I think United have tightened up from a business perspective. But it kind of pales in significance because Manchester United is a football club first. And from a footballing perspective, it's just failures everywhere. Like, bringing Ruben Amorim in was it wasn't a unanimous decision. The Dan Ashworth, he didn't want him in. He disagreed with Jim Ratcliffe, and then he ended up getting booted. But then you bring in a manager who does play a 3-at-the-back system, who is wedded to his philosophy, and you know that. Like, you know that. You've had the interviews. And then 14 months later, he's sacked. So you've actually succumbed to the same pressures you said that you wouldn't succumb to. So you said one thing and you've done another. And that's kind of what a lot of that has happened under INEOS. Saying one thing and then doing another. That's the problem, really, that we've seen so far. And like Pete, you're saying they just want a yes man they can control. I don't know where that sort of chain of thought comes from. Like, what do you mean? Like, what, Jim Ratcliffe actually wants to be manager and they just want somebody in that he can tell them what to do? No, but, and this is what we're starting to find here. Yeah, and exactly, that's kind of David's point. Like, they quoted Ruben Amorim's philosophy as a reason that he was hired, and we've now gone from a manager in Ten Hag. Don't come at me with the head coach manager bullshit. I'm just going to call them managers for ease. In Ten Hag, when Ten Hag left, mate, I couldn't tell you what United's identity. I have no idea how we're going to play from a week-to-week basis. No idea. Absolutely none. Ruben, you knew the system at the end. You just didn't like it. So he stuck with it. Yeah, Clinton, and that is a problem. Like, we're starting to see, like, we all wanted, and we've all wanted, a proper footballing structure, a modern footballing structure. This is how clubs have been successful in the modern age. They have CEOs. They have sporting directors. They have managers / head coaches. They have environments and structures to help the head coach. Now at United, did Wilcox overstep that mark? Well, let's be completely frank. Amorim's results meant that he lost his ability to have full authority at Manchester United. His results undermined his authority, and that was a consequence of his own management. But he took personal offence when anything was questioned. Just ugly everywhere. This fucking football club. And you're saying that hopefully this is a learning. Like, dude, how many times have we got to learn things? I mean, you could say, I suppose it's INEOS's first manager that they've hired, so technically it's the first time for them, but it's not the first time for us. This is the biggest concern. I say that INEOS, it feels, have actually just gone on to repeat problems that existed under the previous ownership. And that's something I didn't want to happen. But that's something that has happened. So I'm not saying that, like I know Brent tried to go with Glinios because he's an absolute child. Can I just get a decision right, though? If you think about the big decisions that have happened, Ashworth, Ten Hag, and Amorim, and they managed to balls up all three of them. I actually don't think they made the wrong decision in bringing Ashworth in. It's kind of the ironic thing, and I go back towards this man and meddling. A lot of Ashworth's departure was a clash. Ashworth wasn't as effusive about the redundancies. Clashed. Raised his concerns about a back three manager and somebody who didn't have Premier League experience. Clashed. The history has shown that Ashworth was correct. But clashed with Ratcliffe personally, so no, he's got to go. Shouldn't have to clash with him because you shouldn't really be getting that involved. Anyway, as I said, my lunchtime video is absolutely going to be about INEOS, about Ratcliffe, about Wilcox, about Berrada. Because now that they've removed their own shield in Amorim, fingers correctly should be pointed towards them. Sam, you had an idea that this might happen with how they run Nice and the cycling team? Mate, the Nice situation was... I remember doing all the research into that. I think he put his brother in as CEO at the beginning. And then Dave Brailsford came in and did an audit. You'll hear some similarities here. I think he ended up staying at the bloody training ground at that point. And then that's when they removed, after that, they removed Bob Ratcliffe. And then they brought in a new sporting director and head coach. And then they were quickly removed as well. And then Farioli came in, and I can't remember who the second one was. And they brought a little bit of stability, but it's... Something interesting one. I think there's going to be quite a universal feeling towards Ratcliffe right now. What's your feelings towards Wilcox? I'm curious as to know what you're all saying in the chat on this one. I'll go down in a sec. There's a couple of super chats. Let me read these out. ZM saying, today we find out whether Mazur and Boomer comes back. Yep, they play at, I believe, 7 p.m. Cameroon against Morocco, quarterfinal. Someone's coming home. Was it round of 16? No, it's round of 16. Round of 16, that is quarterfinals? No, quarterfinals is the last 8. Don't know. Anyway, I think it's quarterfinals. Captain, you're saying, what benefits are the Glazers getting out of this? Well, they don't get any dividends. The Glazers' dividends got banned. They don't really get anything, if I'm being completely honest. The only way that the Glazers benefit is by the value of Manchester United going up, which it is currently not. Pyro saying, and Boomer or Mazraoui tonight. I think I know the answer. Viva Morocco. Come on, baby. Right, let me see what you're saying down here. Mr. Men, you want him sacked. Big Davey saying Wilcox out. Wilcox is Jim's yes man. I'll be honest. Do I think he's his yes man? Well, it was already written in The Athletic that he spends one of his quote-unquote major tasks is managing Ratcliffe. You know how dumb that is? Well, one of our sporting directors, the director of football, one of his major tasks is managing above him. Red flag. Red flag. Red flag. Someone down there is saying he should be sacked. Wilcox out. Very unsure on him. Has gotten a lot wrong. Wilcox saved us by majority of you are saying get rid of him. Everyone's always so quick to fire, says Mikey. Again, it feels understandable. I can't come here and say that. Do I think that Wilcox should be sacked? And then what? I'm not saying that there isn't justification for it. I'm just trying to think, okay, what would happen next then? Well, people would be like, I'll bring in Luis Campos. Be like, he's a PSG. I can't trust either of these two anymore. I can't trust any. How long did it take for my trust to be eroded in the new football leadership team of this football club? Just over 14 months is the answer. So much to prove. And in reality, Wilcox isn't going anywhere. I don't think Berrada's going anywhere either. Like Captain, you're saying Fletcher is sporting director. I mean, come on. It might be an even worse shout than Fletcher as permanent manager, if I'm being completely honest. Actually, no, probably not. Man. Sacking people hasn't solved things. Bringing in people we thought might be best in class, like Omar Berrada when he came in, had a huge reputation at City. Now, you're going to tell me, oh, absolutely none of it was in the footballing side of things, but no. Part of it was. Was the majority of his experience in the business side of things? Yes. And if you're actually looking at one thing that we probably improved on, it is the slight on the business side of things, but only because we've been cutting costs rather than the business booming, which are two different ways, right? You increase your profits by either bringing in more money or spending less. Man United has improved as a business because we've spent less. We've made more cuts rather than Man United bringing in a brand new... It confuses me. Why on earth did Carrington not have a sponsor? When you just spent 50 mil refurbishing a brand new training complex, are you telling me that you couldn't have gone out and found a sponsor for that and combined that with a new training ground shirt sponsor? But it feels... I don't know why United didn't do it at the time. And I still don't know why United didn't do it. I'm trying to think, are they waiting because they're waiting for this? No, it just feels like they didn't do it. Which just feels like a massive oversight. Because that was just money on the table, if you ask me. Mo, you said, thought the whole point of an interim hire was that it was quick and timely. Well, United have got 2 games in the space of, 5 days? Or 2 games in the space of 6 days after they sacked Ruben Amorim. So... internal interim manager. Then you take a week basically to decide on who the caretaker manager is going to be. Johnny's saying DHL and Aon did it in the past. It was the Aon training complex for a long time. It's just Carrington now. Just feels like it was a bit money on the table that was just a bit pointless. One question here before we move on. Do I want to have a conversation about managers right now? Can I be asked? I'll be fully honest here. Like, I had these quotes up from Keane. Speaking about Eddie Howe. I'll put up on the screen here. But, like, Mr. Men down there said, would anyone take Roy as manager or just me? Like, I mean this with the greatest of respect. Like, dude, like, it's such a horrendous opinion. I know that opinions are opinions. Like, everyone can have one. But, like, I can't for the life of me, like, understand why any United fan would look at Roy Keane and think, that's what we need. With any, like, real, genuine logic. Like, I can't get my head around it. Look, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes, I might disagree with it, but they're former players. They played with him. He was their captain. They've got an affinity towards him. A bit like how Neville could never criticise Solskjaer because he played alongside him and loved him. But Roy Keane here speaking about Eddie Howe. If I was to predict who United's next manager will be, or how the process will actually go, I can't predict who the next manager is going to be. But I really feel that United will be looking for somebody with Premier League experience. Because if we're being completely honest, and we're stepping back, right, and we're talking about all the managers that we've had, it's a long list now. How many times have we gone for a manager with Premier League experience? Jose? That was a combustible situation from the very beginning. It kind of sort of... we know how it ended up. It feels like that's the path that INEOS are going to go down. They've done it with transfers. I actually think our transfers have been pretty good under INEOS. So from a Chris Favell perspective, I think he's actually been doing a good job. I'm not surprised to see this. Right? If I was to say my opinion on who I think United's next manager should be next, I'm probably leaning toward, at this moment in time, just straight off the bat, I'm thinking about Tuchel, and I'm probably thinking about Nagelsmann. Would probably be they're the two managers that would just jump to my head straight away. Now, of course, Iraola's out of contract in the summer. Glasner's out of contract in the summer. Marco Silva's out of contract in the summer. Just so happens to be that all three of them are out of contract in the summer. All got Premier League experience. Yeah. Pros and cons of all of them. Tuchel, we don't know what's going to be going on with him at the World Cup. Might win the World Cup and then come to Manchester United and bring us back to the very top. I mean, that would be very nice. I don't know. These conversations are going to be ones that we have plenty of times, and debates that we have plenty of times. We don't even have a caretaker manager until the end of this season, let alone the permanent manager after them. It's just that these are these sort of managers that are getting floated. But Eddie Howe? I don't know. Maybe it's a bit unfair of me to look at Eddie Howe in the way I look at Eddie Howe. I think he's done a pretty damn decent job at Newcastle. And maybe it's about steps. I don't know. Isn't it exhausting speaking about new managers again, peeps? Ruben Amorim had all the charisma he needed. Just didn't have the approach he needed. Boop. Yeah, Tuchel has played three at the back, but he's definitely... And like, any conversations like this, you're not going to get anything out of me speaking about Xavi. I'm not going to... I can't do it. I'm too stung by Ten Hag and Ruben Amorim to look at anybody from around Europe, really. That's what I mean. I think my focus is probably going to be Premier League experience. Because I think we spoke about that before. Like, what's the number one requirement? What's top of your priority list when it comes to who the next manager of Manchester United is? Now, someone's saying Enrique down there. Yeah, Enrique would be on my list as well. Let's be completely honest. How can you not? Just those whiffy reports that he's turned down. I'll be honest, I don't know why Enrique would come anywhere near Manchester United. I mean, we know why. It's the challenge, is bringing Man United back to the top. It kind of feels like, is that all we've got to say to people now? Maresca? Nah, man. I'll probably put Maresca... Would I say he's as volatile as De Zerbi? I don't know. Unai Emery's being said down there. But if you're going to speak about Iraola or Glasner, you absolutely have to speak about Unai Emery. And people saying Inzaghi. Nah, man. That's what I mean. It's a long, long list of managers you can go down here. Managers, head coaches, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a head coach. But yeah, if you're going to speak about Iraola, you're definitely speaking about Emery. And this is probably coming at the same time, the same summer, by the way. Realistically, the Guardiola's leaving City. So when it comes to the manager hunt, it's very likely that United and City are both going to be going after a manager at the exact same time. Which may well take some candidates away from us. That's something that's just the truth right now. Two clubs at very, very different points. Right, let me just... There's no point speaking about transfers. DiMarzio's reporting that United are blocking Xerxes' move to Roma. Good, thanks, move on. Sekou Kone, he's having some training sessions with Lausanne, who of course are owned by INEOS. Might be going out on loan there for the rest of the season. Cool, good. All right, transfers, done. There's no point speaking about them. All the managers you're doing down here... Look, we may well... Would you like this? Just randomly thought this, to be honest. You know how we started the series, the scouting series, and we've done videos on Belieber, on Anderson, and on Wharton, on how they're getting on this season. We'll do another one of those a little bit later in this season. Would you all like a series on this channel where we basically run through kind of every candidate that could be linked to being Manchester United's next permanent manager? So we could do, for example, I'm just thinking out loud here, we could do like a 5, 6, 7 part series It's got nothing to do with opinion, right? Nothing to do with what I want or what I think. It's more like, this is this manager. This is what he's done so far in his career. If he came to United, probably would line up like this. These are problems that he's had in the past. These are fallouts that have happened in the past. I kind of think that would be a good thing to do. Because I'll be honest, as a United fan, I'm sitting here, I would want to watch those. Because I don't know who the right choice is. I think I might do that. I'll speak to the team later. That'll be a massive old task to do. But as soon as we do those videos on players, they make it purely factual. That's what I mean, John. There's too many Johns. Double John down here. One saying yes, one saying you're wasting your time. Thanks, mate. Appreciate your really valid comments that you always throw down here. Yeah, that's what I would call it. Like a manager breakdown series. Removing opinion and just explaining how... Look, you could... As I said, you'd have to speak about Emery. If you're going to have a conversation about Iraola, which some United fans might have, I'm not too sure, then you'd have to talk about Emery. Right, let's speak about the game this weekend, okay? I'm not going to do a vote on managers right now, okay? Because we haven't got a bloody caretaker in. So it's kind of a mute conversation. Let's find out what happens with Solskjaer and Carrick and them coming in, and then I suppose attention can turn to that after we speak about the ownership. Brighton on Sunday. All right. Fletcher's going to be facing the media today. I think it's going to be 4 p.m. There or thereabouts. You know what I want to see this weekend? And this might just be stupid. I don't know. Anyway, I want to see Shea Lacey in that starting 11. I want to see Darren Fletcher going out there and going, you know what? This is my game at Old Trafford. My only game at Old Trafford as Manchester United manager. Let's just go out there and enjoy it. Lacey, get him in that starting 11. I guarantee you he'll be thinking... I'm not saying he'll be thinking about starting these two lads. But get Fletcher on there. Why not? I really do think there's a possibility that you could see JJ Gabriel in the matchday squad. Now, of course, JJ Gabriel was smashing it with Darren Fletcher, with the under-18s so far this season. He's ineligible to be in a Premier League matchday squad, but he can be in the FA Cup. And I think with everything going on right now at Manchester United, I think Fletcher will be just going into that game on Sunday thinking, how can we bring a bit of positivity to Manchester United? And I think the youth maybe it's not a cop out, but an easy win in that sense. Hey, look, you might see Lacey start, you might not see Lacey start. We'll see. But I just want to enjoy this game on Sunday. I probably won't. Hey, full disclosure, I probably won't. When we played against Brighton in the league, we ended up giving Brighton a lot of the ball. Really surprised me, actually. We kind of sat back. We sat quite disciplined. And we were able to pick them apart. When we went forward with purpose, and we were 3-0 up at half-time. Do I expect the same thing to happen in this game? No, not particularly. We don't have Brighton. We don't have Mbeumo. We don't have Ahmad. I just hope we win. The FA Cup is all the only thing that we've got left this season for... Yeah, like the Premier League, I just don't think I'm going to enjoy watching the Premier League at any point for the rest of the season, really. Like, we're just in a scrap for European football. I suppose it will be a success if we end up getting into the Champions League, but that looks very unlikely right now. I still think it's possible, but it's possible for any team that strings some results together. Extra time and pens. Richie's saying, God forbid if we get knocked out. Hey, look, dude, if we get knocked out, we get knocked out. I'm not going to lose my shit over that. There's been plenty that has happened this season that has taken my attention. Far more than if we get knocked out of the FA Cup because we lose to Brighton. If we lose to Brighton, We lose to Brighton. Doesn't mean like anyone. You can't even sack the manager. He's just been sacked. No one can get sacked after if we get knocked out. Right. Let me see what you're saying down here. Lacey coming in brought a lot of excitement. He was just kind of allowed to do what he did with the younger teams. And when you are a brand new player coming through, you are a completely unknown entity. And defenders don't really know what to do against you because they don't know which way you're going to turn. So you got the element of surprise. Clinton saying if we don't beat Brighton, I'll be pissed. I'm not going to be... Do I want United to win on Sunday? Yeah, of course I do. I want United to win every single game forever. Am I going to be pissed if we lose on Sunday? I'll probably be annoyed. Would I be shocked? No. Would I be surprised? No. It's just the FA Cup. It's just a cup game. In the context of this season, it's massively irrelevant. Because there's a burning fire going on behind you. Not that I don't want United to win the FA Cup. I'm dismissing it as a tin pot trophy. It's not what I'm suggesting. But just with everything going on at my club right now, I can't particularly put a lot of emphasis on the FA Cup. Full disclosure. Right. Let's wrap this up for today. And let's go to the... Come on, it's the map. It's Friday. A quiz I'm going to try and bring back next week. It just got a little bit chaotic this week. So we're going to bring probably the quizzes back next week. I've still got about 10, 15 posters down there. Loads of Stan Chow ones, originals that I bought from Stan Chow. So they're my versions of them. Yeah, I've got loads more that I can give away to all of you. So we'll bring back the quizzes from next week and maybe bring them into it, like be a regular in the Friday show. We've got maps and we'll have the quiz on a Friday. Let me know where you're watching from, all right? We have got, well, let me know what city and country you're watching from. You've got Charlbury, you've got The Hague, you've got Minnesota, Donegal, Kampala in Uganda. Mr. Ben watching from Preston. Oh, baby. Jeez. Only the finest. Come on. We've got Big Dave watching from Brighton. There you go. UK is getting some shout-outs today. I love Brighton. I went to Brighton for the first time a couple of years ago, and I was dead annoyed with myself. I was like, why did I not go here when I was a teenager, man? Absolute whopper. Great night out. We've got Dave watching from Freistadt in Austria. Freistadt. Does that mean Freitown? What's Fry mean? Don't know. Stadt means town, though, doesn't it? I think so. And we've got one more. We've got JVL watching from Heredia in Costa Rica. Now, that's a cool place. Can I come and visit? Can I just come and disappear and forget that United exists? Because I think I'd be a little bit more mentally sane. Right. Can I just say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Do a quiz every day until we win 5 in a row. Mate, I'll go skint. All the giveaway prizes from that, United People's TV would go under. Yeah, Richard, I know. I did mention that some time ago that I want you to be able to see the maps, but I need an app. United People's TV needs an app. It needs a website. It needs a home. And I'm looking into all of this, and it's extremely expensive, unfortunately. But we're looking into this. Everything that we're doing behind the scenes, we're trying to build stuff for United People's TV at the same time that United as a football club is in turmoil. Right. That was not a week I expected. Right? It's not a week you expected. Bloody hell. I'm going to chill out tonight. Lunchtime video. My focus goes towards Ratcliffe, goes towards INEOS, and I'm going to be posing some questions and pulling up some evidence. That's what I want to do. Pull out the receipts. I want accountability. It's the only thing that we can really, truly ask for is accountability. Don't hide behind your shit decisions. If you've made shit decisions, then front up to them. Like, in Germany, if you're a sporting director, imagine, like, Jason Wilcox in Germany. I'm not saying that he should be facing the press, but you can't kind of hide away behind your manager and sacking a manager in this. Well, you can in this country, but you couldn't do that in Germany. More accountability. And you know what? Actually making the right bloody decisions. That would help. Thank you all for tuning in. If you are new, please do consider subscribing. I'll be back here live on Monday. And today's going to be the INEOS video. Tomorrow's going to be the starting 11 video for Brighton. Sunday is the game. And I'll be back here on Monday. Take it easy, everyone.